Oh, yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen!
Are you ready for your moment of bliss?
Because what Poppy wants, Poppy gets.
Yowie wowie! I don't even know if that's PG! Acknowledge me! Woo! Oh, you didn't know? Well, let me tell you something, brother!
Welcome to the most must-see WWE talk show in history. Welcome to
the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast.
The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better. It's still real to me, damn it!
Hello and welcome. This is the bottom line of WWE Friday Night Smackdown, January 20th, 2023. You're listening to the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast, the podcast that is saddened by the loss of Jay Briscoe. Our hearts go out to his family, his friends, his fans, his wife, and his brother Mark, and most importantly, his children. Thoughts and prayers are with the Pugh family. If you'd like to donate and help Jay's family, there is a Give, Send, Go set up for them. The link will be at the top in the description below. In memory of Jay, reach for the sky because we are them boys of this program. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob, and we'd like you all to embrace the kingdom of the madness by be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Pat, fantastic homage there in the beginning there. Kevin Owens himself had the band on for tonight, so not our most exciting week of wrestling just due to that unfortunate tragedy, but it is show business, so the show goes on, and we do honor the Briscoe brothers and Jay and his family. Our well wishes are to you during this difficult time.
Rob never tells me the word of the night, and I never tell him what the joke's going to be in the beginning of the show, and a joke did not feel right tonight. I've been having a hard time with this as a fan, so I can only imagine the pain for his family. But if you could give us one word of the night, Rob, what would it be?
Tonight, again, another phrase, but tonight is Fight Owens Fight.
Oh, man. Gearing up for 1 week away from the Royal Rumble. He's dead set on getting Roman away from that title, and he did not care tonight, did he?
Oh, not a single. He made every single member of the Bloodline except one feel his wrath.
Well, let's dive right into the show because Friday Night Smackdown started with the Bloodline arriving in the parking lot. Sami Zayn was pretty amped up for the night. Roman Reigns has a big contract signing with Kevin Owens for the Rumble matchup. As they get out of the car, Sami is dapping it up with the Usos, but he went to give the tribal chief a fist bump, and Roman Reigns kind of shrugged him off. And if you could excuse the expression, Rob, I didn't acknowledge him here. What do you have to say?
They just build this all night. We'll talk about them a little bit later, but it was segment after segment, and it's just building the anticipation that we've been having for weeks now on when is Roman going to finally just break our hearts by breaking Sami's heart and kicking him out of the Bloodline. And tonight they really got you because they planted seeds starting here, and they'll do it later, we'll talk about, but they planted seeds all night that it's happening tonight, that Roman is going to finally make it happen tonight. And it puts you on pins and needles. Like it is really just, this is going to be really heart-wrenching when it happens. It sucks because you know it's going to happen, but it's so, like, I'm going to gasp. And so tonight they did a great job of just planting even more seeds, more doubt, and this was a great way.
Well, let's talk about our first match of the night. We have a series of matchups that's for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's a tournament, Rob, and it's the Tag Team Contenders Tournament. And first up is Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders. This is the first of 3 rounds in the Contenders Tournament. Valhalla was at ringside, and this was a great match. I'll give this a thumbs up. McIntyre and Sheamus beating the Viking Raiders after they hit the Claymore and the Bro Kick in tandem. Eric and Ivar had a good match. Just this team of Drew and Sheamus is going to be a force in this SmackDown Contenders Tournament. What do you have to say about this, Rob?
This was wonderful first really big showing for the Viking Raiders. They kind of been stuck in these really not so great matches when it comes to Legado del Fantasma and also Hit Row. This here was showing the fans what they could do, giving them the time, which made me so happy. I know, like, that was the one thing I talked about last week is, like, if they give these two teams 15-ish minutes, 20-ish minutes, they're going to put together a spectacular match. And they did that. These were just four beefy men beating the holy hell out of each other. And every single one of it, this felt like a real Viking Raiders match or war. This felt more New Japan War Raiders. This really called back to them. And it really got a chance to showcase the moves that they haven't gotten a chance to do yet on the main roster. So this was a thumbs up for me match-wise. The right people did go over. I mean, pending something happening, all roads lead to Sheamus and McIntyre getting a rematch against the Usos the way the tournament is set up, except for maybe one team, which we'll talk about later. But that's just kind of where it's going right now. And so, but otherwise, I thought we know where Sheamus and McIntyre is. They could have lost and nothing would have happened here. This match, even in the loss, put the Viking Raiders up a pedestal from where they were in the eyes of a lot of just, I would say, just the WWE fans.
I have another question for you, Rob. What do you think about Sheamus and Drew McIntyre being in this Contenders tournament, along with the Brawling Brutes?
It was interesting. Like
Ridge and Butch are both, they're as the Brutes in this tournament. We don't have a name for Drew and Sheamus yet,
I think they're kind of calling themselves the Banger Brothers, which they shouldn't. But
definitely,
they shouldn't. But I think they are. I think it would have been fun. Like, we'll talk about results later. Those two, that match together would have been just really, really good to watch. I think it would have turned out more of like a not anyone going against another one. It's more of a, hey, we're in this match together, handshake, beat the hell out of each other. Whoever wins afterwards, hug and handshake. I think that's how it would have ended up going down. So to me, it wasn't really a big storyline. They didn't bring it up too like it was a big storyline. I just thought it was, just two good teams. Sheamus and McIntyre, I don't know if they're going to be like a long-term team or this is just kind of a short-term, let's put them together for a bit. But yeah, no, I genuinely didn't even think about that storyline until you brought it up. So.
But moving on, we go to Roman Reigns' locker room, and Sami is wanting to talk to the head of the table. Sami sits down and mentions Roman being frosty earlier, and Reigns tells him to cut to the chase because he's seen how he reacted last week when the Usos decided to get involved in Sami and Kevin Owens' match. Sami admits he was pretty disappointed. He took a lot of pride being sent on a mission by the tribal chief. He didn't know that the Usos were going to attack and show up. He didn't know what the game plan was. And then he mentions Kevin Owens telling him he thinks he's being used. And that's when Roman stops him and tells him to get out. He doesn't want to hear it. Why does the tribal chief have to run his game plan by the honorary Us? And he tells him to get out and maybe go find KO and get his own bloodline. What do you think, Rob?
Again, I bring this up week in and week out. This is a atypical, abusive head of the table, abusive husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, whatever, that is in complete control of another human being. And when that other human being brings up valid points, which Sami did, just like, hey, I was in the match, so if that was the plan, like, why didn't you, like, fill me in? So I kind of knew. He didn't say he was mad about it. He just wanted to be filled in. And Roman just immediately, just angrily, why do I have to tell you? I'm head of the table. I'm above you. Why do I have to tell you? And it's just more of instilling fear and trying to manipulate Sami. And the more this happens and the more the weeks go by, you can just see the disappointment in Sami's face as he's getting, in the eyes of, our viewers, abused by his tribal chief and his leader.
Raquel Rodriguez cut a backstage promo talking about how she's excited for her first Royal Rumble in her home state of Texas, Rob. I think she's a good contender to win the match. What do you think?
She's on the short list, that's for sure. I actually can see her. I'm going to go way back here on this one. She is going to me, be the 1994 Diesel spot, where come in early, completely dominate the early half, and then maybe be near the end, but it's going to end up being put up by some of the favorites. But to me, she is on the short list of 5 people that should win this Rumble. Can I talk about the promos for a second? I really hope Triple H brings back, this is nostalgia me, in like the first 6 Rumbles, they would do like back-to-back-to-back-to-back promos in this very undisclosed area where it's your very standard, like, you know, every man for themselves, whoever's in my way, I don't care, I'm gonna throw him out, that kind of thing. That was a very Tito Santana promo. I hope they do that this year. I hope Triple H, he likes his nostalgia. I hope they kind of bring that back where before the Rumble match, they do these back-to-back-to-back-to-back where each person gets like 15 seconds and just, that's it. I kind of hope they bring that back.
Well, I know we have Megan Morant and Kayla Braxton on SmackDown, but what I'd like to see is someone, Byron Saxton fits the role. I want to see more interviews like a Mean Gene interview.
Oh, so someone that like can be identified as like an actual personality on screen.
Absolutely. And Sexton, I think, fits the role perfectly. You know, we'll never get someone like Mean Gene, but I just love those style of promos that we get. And I love the backstage segment or promos that we're getting too, where it's just directly at the camera, they're straight to the point. It gets everything. I mean, this makes it much smoother, I think, and breaks it up from always getting an interview where someone attacks from behind and stuff like that. I don't like seeing that all the time. Well, next, LA Knight comes down to the ring for a match, but he cuts a promo before telling somebody to help Bray Wyatt figure out what the hell is going on. One week he's not Uncle Howdy, then the next week he is Uncle Howdy. He then cuts another classic LA Knight promo, and we get another match where it's LA Knight versus Greg Jones, a local talent, and this is a squash type match. LA Knight wins quickly after the BFT for the pin because during the match there was a Bray Wyatt logo that kept flashing, so it made him pretty nervous. But wait, there's more, because children everywhere can rejoice. The Firefly Funhouse is being renovated, Rob. That's right, we got a classic Firefly Funhouse video, and it showed Bray Wyatt along with his revived puppet friends, and he was making repairs to the funhouse. And Rambling Rabbit tells Bray that LA Knight seems pretty cool. He's like the Miz, but with muscles. But he's worried about the Pitch Black match because he's scared of the dark. And then Bray tells Rambling Rabbit that it's perfectly natural to be afraid of the dark, because that's where the things that hide under your bed that like to eat you are. So you should be afraid of the dark. And then Uncle Howdy flashes on the television screen in the funhouse saying, "Told you so. All you needed was a little push." And then it cuts to Wyatt looking directly at the camera, and he says, "Hope you're satisfied and you understand, because you opened the door and whatever comes through is your problem." What do you think about this Pitch Black match? This Mountain Dew Pitch Black match at the Royal Rumble, Rob, now.
Please get the promotion correct, yes. I am just perplexed. So Bray Wyatt's always been a better character than he has been a wrestler. So the match-wise, whatever happens. I'm not really focused on that. I'm not going to be like, man, I hope this is a Tokyo Dome Classic we're going to get. No, that's not going to happen. But I have not been more intrigued about what could happen in a match in a long time, because we don't know what kind of Bray we're getting, because Uncle Howdy said the door's been open, and Bray's even just said himself that you did this, so, whatever happens. It's on your hands, not mine. You brought me back. So I'm curious on what Bray we're going to get. Are we going to get Firefly Funhouse? Are we going to get Cult Leader Bray? Because we've seen...
We're going to get The Fiend.
Are we going to get The Fiend Bray? Yes, we've seen every variety, or been alluded to every variety this past month and a half, 2 months. So the curiosity of what actually is going to happen on this is just... You have me. Like, you have every ounce of me who is going to be glued to the television just to see what happens. Like, just to know, what kind of Bray Wyatt are we getting?
Well, let's move on to our next match, because it's Hit Row, Top Dollar and Ashante the Adonis versus Los Lotharios, Angel and Humberto. This was a solid match that had featured Hit Row's heel side by winning thanks to B-Fab grabbing Humberto's foot for Ashante to roll him up from behind, Rob. This match, I give it a thumbs up. I hate Hit Row, and I mean, that's what's supposed to happen, right?
I'm so mad at you right now for saying thumbs up for this. This is a terrible match. All of this is awful. All of this was awful. We have a combination of Los Lotharios, who are two great workers.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't just because Hit Row won. I mean, especially Los Lotharios looked solid in this match. I'd like to see them a lot more.
Well, that's what I would love to see them more. I think they're both fantastic. Handsome devils too, man. Handsome human beings, man. But no, A, cheap roll up, but B, man, Top Dollar. I want to get away from the thing everyone wants to make fun of. I do not care about the dive that failed anymore. Just him walking around is so slow, and it's very reminiscent of just like late 80s Andre the Giant in the ring, where it just looks like he can barely move, looks like he can barely do anything. And it's hard to watch, and nothing about it intrigues me. I don't care that they're heels now. It is not that they were bad baby faces. It's not that they're bad heels. They're just not someone on my television screen that I'm like, you interest me. And so yeah. So all of this is a thumbs down. I'm going to complain and argue about it. I know we don't like to do that here, but I'm going to, it was awful. I'll say one nice thing. Okay? The chop Top Dollar gave to, I think it was Carrillo near the announcer table, and then him yelling at Michael Cole. That's it. That's all I got. That's the only nice thing.
Well, let's move on. Braun Strowman cut a promo backstage saying anyone in the Royal Rumble match that gets in his way is going to get these hands. What do you think about him bringing back his old slogan, Rob?
Why not, right? I actually encourage people to go back. If you kind of want to see the transformation, I actually just rewatched the 2016 Royal Rumble earlier today. Go back and see that and see the transformation he's made and say, dude, good for you.
Well, next up, the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair came down to the ring and provoked Sonya Deville to come out. And we get a back and forth promo between the two, Charlotte refusing to give Sonya the match because she's already beat her, and Sonya trying to bully her way into another championship opportunity. Adam Pearce came out, but then Sonya hit Charlotte from behind and left. What do you think about Sonya maybe getting her match at the Rumble? Maybe getting her match before the Rumble? What do you think?
So we're big Sonya stands here on this podcast, but even I agree with Charlotte in this situation. You had a match, I beat you, back of the line. But Sonya's doing exactly what I would do in the situation if my person says no. Piss them off enough to where they're gonna, be like, fine. You know what? I do challenge you. I think we are gonna end up getting a match. I mean, Charlotte Flair is back. It's really hard to not put her on a big pay-per-view like the Royal Rumble. So I do think the match is going to end up existing. Else, I don't really see the point of all of this then, to be honest with you. So that kind of throws me off. So I think it will end up happening. Adam Pearce is going to probably offer her some deal, or Charlotte is going to just be the one to end up challenging. Especially, I think Charlotte should challenge, because if she is going to be the quote-unquote babyface, that would make her as a fighting champion really like an over-the-top babyface that the crowd can be like, yeah, she's a fighting champion for us. So
possibly a deal like you can get your championship match, but you don't get to be in the Rumble.
Perfect. I can't think of a better scenario on that one. That's a great scenario. Or Charlotte will put her in some sort of match. They'll put her in some sort of match next week on SmackDown that says you have to do this. You have to do X, Y, and Z, and we'll give you that match, or whatever happens. So we just want to take the time out here to thank you all for embracing the madness, and we want to continue to do that by going down below and clicking all those links there. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Continue to like and support us through YouTube and our podcast, and get the word out so others around the world can embrace the madness with you. But again, praise to you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Well, next we go to Roman Reigns' locker room again, where we see Roman and Paul Heyman talking about Sami Zayn. And Heyman said he hasn't liked Shmuley since day one, but maybe it's better to have him in the castle pissing out than out of the castle pissing in. What do you think, Rob?
I disagree that he says he didn't like Shmuley. I think he's lying to Roman on that one. But he is the special counsel to the tribal chief, and he's giving him very sound advice on this one, but it's really just getting more wheels turning in Roman's head that, hey, the reason I think he said this is because he does like Sami Zayn, and he doesn't want to do something rash that's going to make Sami either A, leave, or just do something rash that's just going to be him beating up Sami. So I think special counsel there, Paul Heyman, is trying to protect Sami at all costs, but also at the same time just trying to keep him around a little bit longer, especially with the Kevin Owens match coming up.
Well, next up is our next match in the SmackDown Contenders Tournament. The Brawling Brutes, Butch and Ridge Holland versus Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Another match for the tournament. This was a decent match. I give it a thumbs up for sure. It was fast-paced, hard-hitting. Both teams showed they can easily advance in this tournament, but Imperium wins after hitting the Powerbomb forearm combo. The Imperial Bomb, Rob. What do you think about this?
This is a match specially made for a guy like me. I love British-style wrestling, and that's pretty much what we got here. The crowd was kind of on this one, so I'll leave them be on that front. This is the only other team that I think can win this tournament is Imperium. I think it's going to be a Imperium I'm going to hate saying this, Banger Brothers collision course that we're going to have in the final. And Imperium is one team that I could see moving on to face the Usos if we get that far. Match-wise, it was solid. Like, I love all four of these guys on the ring. I think Rich Holland has been an underrated person all year. I think he's going to get a lot of flack because of what happened to Big E, but I think he's done such a good job of improving this whole year. So a lot of credit to him. On that front, yeah, there's not much to say about this. This was just a thumbs-up match. This was just solid British-style wrestling, good tag team wrestling, and, you know, to me, the right team won. Imperium, to me, is the only other team of this tournament that has a legitimate shot of actually dethroning the Usos.
Well, next we see Paul Heyman telling Sami Zayn that the tribal chief would like to see him. And then we get a backstage promo from Shayna Baszler saying she's not going to eliminate people in the Royal Rumble match. She's going to tear them apart limb from limb. Then we get some commentary from Cole Wade Barrett reminding us about how Shayna Baszler is a force to be reckoned with and has a admittable record in the Royal Rumble. Rob, what do you think about this?
This is my dark horse. This is who I'm a big Shayna Baszler fan. I loved her NXT run as just such a badass UFC, no guff, beat the hell out of everyone. And I hope they really lean into that and let her be her, because that is one person that you're telling. I think Shayna and Charlotte, I think that's a fantastic match. I think that is a solid WrestleMania match that the crowd would get behind, that the crowd would love. And you add into there too the Ronda story. Ronda could be there as on the outside of the ring for Shayna, kind of reversing the roles on that front. So there's so much elements there. But I think now, and we'll just say at the Rumble. I think at the Rumble, because she's going to get a pop. I think that's the moment you need to start that Shayna push. Whether she wins or not is different, but I think that's a moment where you really do that shift from what she's been the last few years to what she was back in NXT.
Well, next we get another promo backstage with Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and he talks about his match against Rey Mysterio next week, and he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match. We continue with these simple promos. I want to say it's because they just got a lot going on preparing for this Royal Rumble pay-per-view or premium live event, and they got a lot to tell.
They have a lot to tell. They have a lot of like smaller rivalries happening as well. Because I mean, I think we get the Cross Ray match this coming week right before the Rumble, so I'm excited about that. But I think also it's a way of just introducing guys who are going to be in the Rumble, who you can expect that's going to come out, and it's a quick way of doing it without having to take up more TV time of someone having their entrance, coming to the ring, announcing it out that way. It's just a quick, nice 30-second promo. And again, I've said this. We've been saying this for like the last month now. Scarlett and him is a great presentation. Scarlett can talk with the best of them, but letting Karrion Kross talk so much more has been such a huge elevation to his character, and it's brought so much more to him. That dude on the mic, oh man, like I am impressed, because we didn't get a lot of that, and so now that we get that more of him speaking, more of him, Scarlett just kind of being there. Not really taking full control of the situation anymore, as him just kind of a monster, whatever. He's actually not only is he like a monster heel, but he's actually very intelligent, and he's very thought-provoking with what he says. So it just adds another dimension to how scary he can be.
Well, since the contract signing between the Tribal Chief and Kevin Owens is going to end the show, this is our main event of the night. Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro versus the Maximum Male Models, Massey and Mansois. This is our last first-round match for the Tag Contenders Tournament. Zelina Vega was on commentary, and she announced she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. This match gets a thumbs up for me. It was a quick match, with Legado del Fantasma getting the win after hitting the running kick Russian leg sweep combo for the pin. What do you think about this match, Rob?
Believe it or not, this is like one of my favorite segments of the whole show. I complain a lot about like really over-the-top gimmickry wrestling. The Maximum Male Models were given such a terrible gimmick, but they play it so well, you cannot not like them. When they tag in, they just do the single finger touch. Their facials when they're out on the ring, like everything about them is so over the top and quirky, and I love it so much. They do such a great job.
I do too. I think it's fantastic. And if you are a person that follows all these guys on social media and stuff, you see that they're always riding together. This is more than just a gimmick to them. Like, they're really living this up as much as they can. And I mean, we don't expect them to be tag team champions anytime soon, or maybe even ever. I enjoy seeing them on my screen, even if it is for just 4 or 5 minutes.
And I don't think anyone has any aspirations of them ever becoming tag team champions, but they're perfect for the scenario. Like, to me, they're a perfect live television crowd tag team. They're the ones that are going to go out there, and you can let mid-card tag team baby faces that are needing to stack up some wins but have entertaining matches out there. They're perfect for that, and I love it. Like, it's just everything about them is so it's very warm and it feels nostalgic, and to me that's comfortable. And so credit to them because they make me feel comfortable. And also on top of that, Legado del Fantasma, those guys, I want to see more of that because I think is it them and Imperium next week?
Yes.
I believe it is. Dude, that could be, if they get the time, that could be a barn burner of a match. I am excited for that one. So look out for that match next week. That is one look forward to. I think it's going to be a spectacular match if they get the time to show what they can do.
Well, next we go to a sit down with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn with Paul Heyman in the background. And Roman admits he has some anger issues, and that's why he has a wise man counsel him. We get a heart-to-heart between Sami and Roman, and Sami tells Roman he'll always put what's best for the bloodline first, and he'll do whatever the tribal chief wants him to do. And this is where Roman tells him the game plan. Go find the Usos, get the SUVs ready, make sure the jet is ready, because him and the wise man and Solo Sikoa are going to go sign the contract, and then they're all going to get out of here. Sami says okay, and then he extends out a fist bump once again. This time, he fist bumps the honorary Us, Rob. Sami leaves, but then Heyman thanks Roman for doing what he just did. So Roman acting on the wise man's behalf here. What do you think about that?
I think that actually shows how smart Roman is in this scenario. So a lot of times, like we've discussed with this situation, a lot of times when that alpha male, alpha whoever's leading the group, if they let emotions get the best of them, when they have that special counsel there tell them something that they should do and they actually listen to it, it really makes it come across as A, more dangerous, but B, it's that false insecurity.
It's time for that contract signing between the tribal chief and Kevin Owens, so Roman Reigns makes his way to the ring on his 873rd day as our undisputed champion. Backed by Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa, they get in the ring for the contract signing where the table is set up and Adam Pearce is waiting. But then Kevin Owens came out of nowhere, throws Solo out of the ring and attacks Roman. The Usos come out, but Owens super kicks them both, throws them into the barricade, and then he gets back in the ring and gives Roman a pop-up powerbomb through the table. He grabs the contract from Heyman and he signs it. And by this time, Sami Zayn shows up at the last minute for KO to throw the contract at him and run away through the crowd. What do you think about this contract signing, Rob?
Greatest contract signing of all time. We didn't have the over-the-top promos. We didn't have the silly someone sign it and then lift the table on the other person to do the attack. We had Kevin Owens come out and attack ahead of time after Roman already had signed it, and then showed how badass he is by taking out the entire bloodline, excluding Sami Zayn. On top of it, you get Paul Heyman cowering in the corner after that pop-up powerbomb to Roman, just cowering like Kevin's going to hit him. You know, it was very...
No!
Oh, man, it
I
was
love
so good.
He's the best.
He is so good at cowering in fear. It was very, very Bobby Heenan-esque on that front. So everything about that was great. And Kevin just grabs it. He looks at Heyman too. Like, why would I hit you? Like he even like Kevin, a very historical, big fan of the business. He knows he knows not to hit Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman doesn't hit back. Paul Heyman is just there to be a special counsel. He does no harm to anyone. So that's what I like about that. Looks at him real weird, like, why are you cowering in fear? Just grabs that contract, signs it, sees Sami, and then just throws it at Sami. The one thing I could be wrong. Through this whole storyline, unless it was between the bells of match to match, Kevin and Sami, I don't think have ever touched each other in any one of these brawls between the Bloodline and Kevin Owens.
Nope, they don't show... The most frustration we've seen between the two was last week right before their match. Each time it's always Kevin trying to reason with Sami, kind of saying like, it's almost like Kevin's going, look, bro, like you just you don't get it. You're on the inside looking out. Like you're not seeing what I'm seeing. And I mean, they're longtime friends. So it's almost like he knows Sami's not going to listen to him. But he's not going to go out of his way to beat up Sami unless Sami kind of goes out of his way to get in the way. And Sami has yet to do that as well.
I completely understand that. Yeah, I completely understand that. I think that's what Roman is seeing too, because Roman's smart. The Usos and Solo Sikoa are kind of just there, just playing lackeys. But I think Roman notices that too, that he never attacks Kevin in any of those moments. He has all the other guys attack Kevin for Sammy or for Roman, and so that's what makes him question Sammy's loyalties through all of this. Now, between the bells...
Well, hang on, because, right here at the end of the show, when Sammy does show up at the last second, and Sammy, you could see it in his expression. He wasn't happy. He was pissed. He was worried about his tribal chief. He's like, what's going on? And Kevin throws the contract and runs before Sammy. And, you know what I mean? So it's not even that they're avoiding each other. It just hasn't happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can already tell you next week. The first thing we're going to hear from Roman's mouth is, Jay, thank you for being out there. Jimmy, thank you for being out there. Oh, we're doing it Monday on Raw 30.
Well, yeah, we're in for it at the acknowledgement ceremony.
Solo, thank you for having my back. But you know who wasn't out there? Where was Sammy? Why was I powerbombed through a table? Where were you, Sammy?
He was doing what the tribal chief told him to do.
I know that. I know what you're telling me.
Had to get the jet ready. Had to get the SUV ready.
I know, dude. Everything you're telling me, I agree with. But I'm just saying that's all Roman's gonna say to him is like,
you
hey,
said
man,
Sami
where
Zayn
were
on
you?
a coffee run during one of your most important segments. Whose fault is that, tribal chief?
It can't be. No. We don't blame tribal chief. We don't blame Sammy should have done it faster so he could be out there to help him.
I'm with you. We can't blame the tribal chief. The head of the table he makes no mistakes whatsoever. So I mean, yeah, what he says is law. So
do you feel that in your stomach, man? Monday could be it. I'm so scared.
Well, my little cream cups, that's our program. Embrace the madness with a like, leaving a comment. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can enjoy wrestling with us. All of our links are in the description below. Until next time, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob.
And we thank you for listening to the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast. Good night.
Thank you for listening to Cream of the Crop Wrestling. You can embrace the madness by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cream of the Crop Wrestling. Follow us on Twitter at Cream of the Crop W. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by typing Cream of the Crop Wrestling in the search bar. Have fun with us on TikTok at Cream of the Crop Wrestling. And you can always find full episodes of the podcast wherever podcasts are found.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
More, I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. You know that I'm the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. Oh yeah.